Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast, especially for women just like you by inspirational women. It's the go-to podcast that introduces you to women who are industry leaders and experts in their field from all around the world. There will be fascinating conversations which help you understand yourself, others, and navigate life in general as we discuss all things women. Hello, I'm Lorraine Roberts, your host, and I'm a productivity strategist. I help business women find their direction so they lose procrastination and move on to live an amazing life. So if you need help getting motivated because you don't know what to do, where to start, then I'm your gal. You can find me on the Facebook group, Women of Love, Light, Inspiration Community. Come and join, connect, and get in touch with me there. We post all sorts of different things there daily, so there's always something interesting to see. Now, today we're going to speak to Kelly Minter Crandall, who's an endocrinologist nurse. So she deals with all gut issues of everybody. So she's a gut health coach and the admin of Women's Gut Health Tribe on Facebook, and she lives in the US. She's going to tell you a heap of stuff about all different foods, different diets, and you're going to learn so much from her today. So enjoy. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us today, and welcome to Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Now, I would like to know more about who you are and your story in life, because it's a really interesting story.
Okay. So my name is Kelly, and I am a registered nurse. I have been a registered nurse for 30 years. 20 of those years I spent in critical care doing very high pressure jobs in pediatrics and adult intensive care, life flight, all of that. And then about 10 years ago, I transitioned into working with in the gastrology department, gastroenterology. So I do endoscopies, colonoscopies, and work with a lot of patients. All our patients have gut issues. So that's why they come to see us. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. I'm a mom to a 16-year-old boy, and I've been married to the love of my life for 20 years.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah. So I spent the first 18 years of my life overseas. I grew up in South America, Brazil. And my parents were missionaries down there and ran an orphanage. And then I came back after that and did nursing school here in the States. And but I have a real heart for orphans, and as a survivor of abuse, I have a heart for women who are hurting, and I'm very driven to help with the human trafficking movement and stuff like that.
Because stress really does affect the gut and everything. Well, it affects everything inside your body.
Absolutely. It creates a toxic soup, and you can be eating the most clean, the most organic food, but if you are still carrying that trauma inside and have not unpacked it, then you just are going to make you may make some gains, your body does know how to do that, but you won't see the gains that you want to see because your body literally is holding all that trauma in its cells. And so you are not going to heal the way you want to heal.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Yes, we need to do deep internal work to release that, so then the body can take the nutrition. Well, this is the way I see it. Can take the nutrition to actually heal the cells.
Yep. Yes, and I went to counseling for 7 years, and it was only really after I got done with counseling that I was able to start tackling my health issues. I just had so much baggage that needed to be unpacked first, before I could really focus on the physical part of me.
Yes.
So it's really a holistic approach. It's not just nutrition that heals your gut, but it has to be nutrition and heart care, soul care, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We are a whole being, aren't we?
Yeah. Mind, body, soul. You can't split us apart, so.
No, you have to feed the mind, you have to feed the heart, and you need to feed the gut.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, our gut is what they call our second brain. And so when the gut is unhealthy, there's not any system in our body that's not affected by it. So, and our gut produces about 80% of our serotonin, which is the chemical that makes you feel good. So antidepressants, you've heard of Zoloft, stuff like that. That's a serotonin reuptake med. And but it's 80% of it is produced in our gut. So if your gut is damaged, your body cannot naturally produce that. And so that's why there is such usually if you see someone with a gut issue, one of the symptoms is anxiety, depression. They are like hand in hand. You can hardly separate them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I was on 200 milligrams of Zoloft for a period of time. Then I went off, and then had to go back on again. And it took me a while to go off. So that would have affected my gut as well too, wouldn't it?
Correct. Yeah. It most of our meds today are damaging the gut, because your body doesn't really recognize it, because they're synthetic. So ibuprofen, birth control pills, the acid reflux medicine that they give you, all those things actually damage your gut. So it's kind of, you create this snowball effect.
So it's like the hamster being on the hamster wheel, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it really, you have to stop and get off of that hamster wheel and start taking back control of your own personal health and not place it in the hands of someone else.
Yes, I hear that. And you have to get off it slowly so your body then also doesn't react to it. Because if you go off in one go, that's meant to be very detrimental too.
Correct. Yeah, it has to be an incremental change. We really are not, we can't assimilate a lot of changes all at once. So I just finished reading this book called Change Your Day, Not Your Life. And it's about changing your daily habits and how over time that will change your life. Where people struggle is that they try to change too many things at once. I'm going to start eating healthy and exercising and drinking all the water and doing and it's too many things. So we have to break it down and do one thing at a time. That's how our brain kind of works.
Yes.
Is to do one thing at a time.
Yes. Yeah. So all the different diets that people are on for different things, how does someone make sense of all these different diets too? We shouldn't be eating meat. We shouldn't be eating dairy. We shouldn't be eating grains. We shouldn't be eating sugar. It's like, okay, so I want to become healthy, so I'm going to go out and exercise, and I'm going to cut grains. I'm going to cut sugar out. I'm going to, reduce my meat. How does that all affect us too?
Well, you have to look at, is this a fad? And also there's a part of understanding what your body craves. So your body has to recognize the food in order to be able to pull nutrients from it. So it thrives on a whole food, meaning without it being processed, whole food, and very plant heavy diet. You know, you hear the plant-based diet. But I say plant heavy. So you want the majority of your plate to be plants. Now, when I say plants, I'm not just talking about vegetables. When I say plants, that's your greens and your vegetables and your fruit and your nuts and seeds and fresh spices. And I'm forgetting one in there, but it's all of those things. And those are the foods that your body recognizes and can pull nutrients from. The meat, it's a very individual decision on, you don't need meat for protein. That's a myth that people have had. You don't need meat to have protein in your diet. Actually, spinach and broccoli and have very high protein. Hemp hearts, very high in protein. So you can actually get enough protein from the plant kingdom. And when you think about it, where do our cows get their protein? How do they get big?
From grass.
From grass. So there is enough protein in the plant kingdom where you don't have to have meat. Meat is actually very hard for your body to break down. It's very acidic, and our body works best in more what they call an alkaline state. So an acidic state, you think of more like battery acid. So we don't want our organs to float around in battery acid. So
that's a good description.
Yeah, so you want to minimize the amount of acidity that you are putting into your body. And meat is very, very hard for it to break down. So if you choose to have meat, it needs to be on your plate should be plants, and use the meat for flavoring if that's a flavoring that you like. And so you don't have to be like vegan or vegetarian. You just want to be pro vegetables and plants. Pro plant is basically what you want to be. Yeah.
Because I did hear it takes about 6 hours or something for a steak to break down.
It's a long time. Yeah. It's a really long time.
We used to have this ad probably back in the 80s, good old 80s, feed the man meat. And then
the what?
Feed the man meat. Probably sponsored.
Yeah, that's a lot of people have, there's a lot of fad diets out there that have you eating crazy amounts of meat.
Yeah. And they used to say for women, menstruation for women, you need even more protein.
Yeah. And it's just, it's very hard on your body. It's very hard on your body to break all that down. And so a healthy gut, things should be moving, and within 24 hours, it should be through your colon. And when your colon isn't working well because you aren't feeding it enough fiber and things are not moving through it, it can take 3 days or more. Well, that food sits in there and ferments and builds up toxins in your body.
Yeah.
And then if you have a damaged gut lining, those toxins seep through the junctions in there and get into our bloodstream, and that's what causes havoc. That's what leads to autoimmune disorders and stuff like that. So it's super important that we keep our gut healthy so that the food moves on through and doesn't sit in our bodies and create toxins.
Mm. And what about good old sugar? Because you talk about what your body craves. Well, when I go into stress, I just want sugar. I'm
Mm-hmm.
stressed, give me a block of chocolate and I'll be happy.
Yeah. That's pretty typical. Here in America where I live, we consume crazy amounts of sugar. I think the study I read, it was like we do like 19 teaspoons of sugar a day, and we should only be consuming about 5 teaspoons of sugar a day.
Wow.
So one can of pop has the equivalent of 12 teaspoons of sugar.
Yeah.
So sugar is as addictive to you as cocaine.
Oh, I heard it was more.
Yes. It actually binds to the same receptors as like heroin, cocaine. So that's why you get crazy trying to find sugar, because it's an addiction. Okay. And but it can be broken, and it takes about 4 days to rid your body of that. So you just hold on for the ride.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and once you get past those 4 days, your body will begin to start craving natural sugars. Now, all sugars are not created equal. So when I'm talking about sugar, I'm talking about the white refined processed sugar, table salt, table sugar.
Yep.
Our bodies respond differently to the sugars in fruit, the natural sugars in fruit. Small amounts of honey, maple syrup, real maple syrup.
Coconut sugar.
Coconut sugar is, it's in moderation. It's a good alternative for baking. I like to use it in my baking.
Yeah.
And it's got a lower glycemic index, so it doesn't spike your blood sugar as much.
Yeah. Yeah. And stevia and all those artificial ones.
Stevia, if it's the real stevia, organic stevia, it comes from a plant, and small amounts of it is fine.
But if it comes from a packet,
all the other ones, you avoid those like the bubonic plague. You do not want, they're a neurotoxin. So they actually go up and fry your brain cells. They destroy brain cells. They're so bad for you. They have more complaints about those fake sugars in the FDA or Food and Drug Administration than any other food additives in our whole system.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do know personally, and I learned this as a teenager, that if I had Diet Pepsi, I would have massive diarrhea and stomach cramps and be doubled over in pain. The first can I wouldn't be good. The second can I'd be absolutely chronic. Diet Coke was fine.
Yeah. Yeah. If you struggle with gas and bloating, I do recommend you probably don't use stevia, just because it can convert and it can make the gas and bloating worse. So if that is a problem for someone, I would rather them use like a teaspoon or 2 of honey or real maple syrup, not the stuff that you usually buy at the store that's high fructose corn syrup with maple flavoring. You don't want that. You want the real stuff. A little bit of that, or like dates. Dates are very, very sweet. And so if you cut up some dates, and like I make overnight oats and I cut up a date in there, and it just soaks in all night with the oats, and it gives it a lovely sweet flavor without having to add anything into it.
I use honey in my
Yeah.
oats and porridge. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Now, what about carbs? Because carbs is another one that can be quite addictive too, isn't it?
Well, all fruits and vegetables are carbs.
Okay, I'm talking about white flour.
Okay, so there's good carbs and there's bad carbs, right? So not all carbs are created equal. So the ones that you want to stay away from are, again, back to what is your body going to recognize? It doesn't recognize all the processed carbs. So the white sugar, the white flour, the enriched grains, candy, cookies, cake, all that kind of stuff. But it does but whole grains, and fruits and vegetables are good. Your body thrives on that. It's our main source of energy is carbs. And actually, we need the dietary fiber that is in fruits and vegetables are undigested carbs that your microbiome needs, actually. So I always cringe when someone wants to throw the baby out with the bathwater, so not eat, because they have put carbs under this umbrella that is it's bad. And there's been studies that shown that actually people do very well on a high carb whole plant food diet. So as long as it's carbs that your body recognizes.
So not a high carb as in a whole white flour diet.
Correct. Right. But lots of fruits and vegetables and whole grains kind of diet.
So what do you mean by whole grains? I mean, you're talking about, bread with all these grains in it. So
yeah, like quinoa, like brown rice. We have a farro. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a whole grain. It's delicious. Like oats, unprocessed oats, like oatmeal.
Yep.
But not, you don't, when I say oatmeal, I don't mean the little packages that you open that are full of sugar and you just add hot water. I'm talking about like the real oatmeal or oat grouts.
Yeah.
Those are all the whole grains. There's a whole list of them. And the thing with your gut bugs, your gut microbes, is that they're picky eaters. So they like different things. So if you only eat bananas and broccoli and rice, then all the microbes that thrive on different kinds of plants, they will get weaker and weaker and weaker, and it can eventually die off. So that's why they say the golden rule for a healthy gut is diversity of plants. So the goal is to get 30 different plants in a week so that you are hitting all different microbes in your body and feeding them. So, there's legumes was the other whole food that I had forgotten about, legumes. So there's, beans and lentils and all this. So, there's some some gut bugs that like black beans and some that prefer garbanzo beans and some, so that's why I rotate what beans I'm using every week. So you don't have to be complicated about it. So when I look at my shopping, one week I'll do like a couple different kinds of berries and a couple different kinds of veggies. And I'll use garbanzo beans and kidney beans that week, and then I'll usually pick a whole grain, like a pot of brown rice or a quinoa. And then that's what I make my meals out of. And then the following week, I may go more citrusy and get oranges, and then I get an apple. And so it doesn't have to be complicated. You just don't want to always eat the same things.
Yes.
And kind of a fun game that I encourage people to do, and is, I like to say, I think let me back up. So as women in our society, we have been so shamed in our body image, and calories as all we ever hear about. And I am on a mission to stop that. I want people, women, to count plants, not calories. Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Because you never have sat down and overdosed on bananas, have you?
No.
Your body knows when to stop. But I have personally sat in times of stress and eaten a whole package of cookies.
Yeah.
Because my body didn't know when to stop.
Yeah.
But I have never made myself sick on bananas,
Yeah.
or I eat one apple. I don't eat the whole bag.
Very true. Very true.
So, I want us to stop beating ourselves up on calories, 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 and switch our focus to plants. Make it a game. I think that there needs to be some lightheartedness in, because it just has become such a heavy topic. And so make it more of a game. How many, this bowl that I'm going to eat, this bowl of breakfast bowl, how many things can I add to it? And how many plant points can I get? And so I add a little bit of 3 different kinds of berries, and I add some nut butter, and I add some chia seed, and I add a little bit of hemp hearts.
Pumpkin seeds, and you
Pumpkin
can
seeds.
yes.
Yeah. And then you've got 7 or 8 plant points. And that's amazing, And so when you look at it that way, you begin to see, oh, it's not that hard to get 30 different kinds in a week. You
Yeah.
probably, and it becomes more of a fun game instead of this punishment. Like, I can only have 1,200 calories, and so I'm not gonna, I can eat this, but not this. And it becomes very restrictive and regimented. And I don't know about you, but I don't do well in that environment. If you tell me I can't eat something, that's what I want to eat.
Yeah, I hear. What about potato? Potato is one of those vegetables. It's a vegetable, for God's sake. It's been crucified mainly because it's deep fried, I think. But it's really been.
It's very good for you, actually. It's very high in fiber. So it's, if you pair it with, if you just ate white potatoes, it could spike your blood sugar. So if you have problems with your blood sugar, I would pair it with something that slows it down, like with some kind of beans or something that would slow the sugar spike down.
Mashed potato mixed with mashed pumpkin together. Oh, yummy.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of that.
Oh, yeah, yum, yum. Yeah, mashed potato and mashed pumpkin mashed together. Oh, creamy, yummy.
I'll have to try that. I've never had that. The sweet potatoes are amazing. So good for you. Yams, butternut squash. Yeah, but white potatoes have been given a bad rap, but they shouldn't. I mean, you're not, if it's how you cook them, right? If you're not, here in America, we think we're eating vegetables if we eat French fries. And I guess technically you are, but it's deep fried, so it doesn't really count. You've pretty much killed all the nutrients.
Yeah. I must admit, I'm not a great, oil person. But then I'm still stuck with that 80s mindset of, and fat's not good.
Yeah. We kind of got brainwashed into believing everything needed to be fat free.
Yes. Yeah. So I see a recipe and it's got, a quarter of a cup of olive oil in it. And I go, oh, do I have to? Can I get rid of the olive oil?
I mean, it's definitely a brainwashing that we had, and obviously we have to, fat doesn't have any fiber in it. And so you do have to use it judiciously, but we shouldn't be afraid of it. So it's, I'm trying to think of like in my like what I eat in a day. I would say I try to limit oils to about a tablespoon a day total or less.
God, I'd be lucky if I had that a week.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And you,
Probably need more.
yeah, you need some healthy fats. So, coconut oil, olive oil, you don't need a lot, I mean, honestly, you don't need a ton, but your body does need, actually, it needs some of these oils to do vitamins, to break down some vitamins. Your brain is very fatty. And so if you aren't giving your body oils in the form of even when you're talking oils, you're also like things like avocados and
No.
nuts and stuff like that. Those are really good sources of healthy fats, right? So it doesn't have to be olive oil. You can get healthy fats from what you eat too. In fact, like I love making salad dressing from ground up chickpea. So it makes it very nice and has protein in it,
Yep.
but it's very smooth. Or I use tahini, which is a sesame seed paste.
Yes, yes, yes.
It makes a delicious salad dressing, and it doesn't have to have any oil in it.
Because there's oil in those seeds, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
But your body does need it needs fats, definitely.
Yeah. Now, what about dairy? I know you can't personally eat dairy. I love dairy, but I don't know whether I should like dairy.
Well, we don't, as humans, we don't need dairy to survive. Actually, it's dairy. What's that?
It just need cheese.
Yeah. Although I would like cheese. I do love cheese. I do love some good hard cheese. But cow's milk was created for baby cows. And so once again, creates a lot of acidity in our bodies.
Goats the same?
Huh?
Goats the same?
Goat milk is more similar to our like a mom's breast milk. So it's easier for our bodies to break down.
Okay.
So if you can get like goat cheeses, those are better. I mean, they're easier for you to take for your body to break down. But there's so many alternative milks now that there's really not, you don't need to have cow's milk to make delicious recipes.
I must admit, I like almond milk. I do like almond milk.
Yeah. I do too.
Now, the soy milk, that had a bad rap at one stage too. This is the thing. Things change, and it's like if you're not keeping up, you don't know. You've left back in the 80s where we couldn't have fat,
Yeah, right. So
soy was huge and a fantastic thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, don't use soy. It's like, no.
Yeah. Well, soy can be estrogen mimic property. So once again, it's not, you don't want to throw the baby out with bathwater. So with soy, it needs to be an organic source. So you don't want to eat all these soy-based products. There's a lot of fake meats and stuff out there that are all soy-based.
Yes.
I would stay away from those. But an organic tofu or edamame.
Don't know what that is.
Edamame it's a soybean.
Yeah.
You can make salads with it. Organic soy milk makes a delicious latte, So it's not that you need to get rid of all the soy, but I would stay away from the highly processed soy. You want to keep the soy as close to its original form as you can. tempeh, tofu, edamame, even this and soy milk, in moderation. So
Yeah, yeah. And there's oat milk out there as well.
oat milk is delicious. I love oat milk. It's probably one of my favorites. It makes a very, very creamy latte, with coffee and stuff. I love it. I've heard it's really easy to make. I've never personally made it, but I've heard it's very easy to make.
I have made almond milk. I haven't made oat milk. I assumed it would be easier than.
Yeah. I've seen a recipe for it. It's super simple.
Yeah. And it's very expensive to buy. And you wonder what additives they've got in when that's in a long life container, because that's all you can really get it in. Or here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Mm. Yeah. So how do we navigate, do we go on a paleo diet? Do we go on a vegan diet? Do we go on how do we navigate and know exactly what we're really doing?
Well, you have to look at what's the source of where that information is coming from. Is there because there's some there's some health gurus that say that tomatoes are bad. Tomatoes are amazing for you, so you have to look at the source and just is this a credible study that supports this? Was it done with a large group of people, and can you reproduce the results over and over again? And is it a sustainable thing?
Yeah.
And the paleo, I don't do any of those fad diets. I don't, from all that I have read and studied, and the studies and of people that I have been following, going back to the way that we originally eat. They want to say that we ate like caveman, but they ate back in the day, they did eat some meat at certain times of the year. Like if the community killed a buffalo, they would eat meat, but then they would go through long stretches where there was no meat in their diet, and they ate the plants that were around them. So they didn't eat that way all the time. That's why what I teach is you don't have to be vegan if you enjoy meat. My husband is a hunter and a fisherman. We will never not have meat in our house.
Yeah.
But what I want to teach is make that a side, use it for flavoring, and focus on getting those plant points in. Yeah. And then maybe throw a little bit of the chicken on top, or a little bit of the ground beef on top, just to add a nice flavor to it. But don't make that your main dish. The keto, if there's a medical reason why you need keto, we did use keto in the pediatric intensive care for certain medical problems, then that's where it needs to stay, is used for medical situations. I do not, I just don't follow the science behind it. It doesn't make any sense to how I understand our bodies work and how I've seen them work. Yes. You will, and even in all of those programs, I think that it seems like to me, what I've read, the focus is always on, let's get you skinny. But if you're unhealthy skinny, have you really accomplished anything? Are we just looking at a number?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we aren't a number. We are a whole person. So let's feed our bodies the healthy, wholesome food where we eat proteins, carbs, and fats in the right, in normal portions, and the body will respond. But when you start trying to manipulate and take out carbs or have high fat or, that kind of stuff, I don't know. Our bodies aren't designed to work that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I tell you what I have been doing is a lot of fasting. Now, fasting is I know it's another fad at the moment, but it seems to have, excuse me, hold on for a sec. Sorry. It seems to have a lot of credibility in the studies that I'm seeing at the moment too. Have you got any opinions on fasting? Because there's intermittent fasting and then there's also water fasting for days and all of that as well.
Fasting is amazing for your body, actually.
That's what I'm saying.
So your body, when you fast, after about 36 hours, your body goes into autophagy mode. So it's like, the old, back in the 80s, I think it was, maybe it's earlier than that, the Pac-Man game. Yes. So autophagy is kind of like the Pac-Man. It's going around eating all the bad mutant cells, cancerous cells, things that needs to be cleaned up. So when your body is doesn't have to digest, so that's what it expends most of its energy for, is digesting food. So when you take that off the table and just are fasting, your body is able to massively heal and repair your body. So I'm a huge proponent of, periodically doing a fast to give your body a break. If your schedule allows it, intermittent fasting is also very, very good way of eating. Also, there's been studies that show that it's actually a very healthy way of eating. Eating in windows of time.
Yes, I tend to do that most days. I didn't quite this morning, but I tend not to, if I can help it, eat until lunchtime, or at least if I can get to 2 o'clock, that's even better. And eating for that 6-hour period. But also looking at water fasting, I must admit, being in Bali, I got really funny in the tummy last week. So I just went, right, that's it. No more food. And I had 2 days, no food, and I was through it and it was great.
There's several years ago, I was really struggling with plantar fasciitis. I was in a lot of pain from being on my feet all the time at the hospital. And I didn't want to go down the road of injections and all that stuff, because it becomes this vicious cycle. And so I did a detox, pretty aggressive detox that I did. And I did that, and I got in my infrared sauna and did a lot of skin brushing, and which breaks down any built up toxins and stuff. And I got rid of the plantar fasciitis, and I've never had a problem with it since. So your body, because it's inflammation, right? At the root cause of all the disease is inflammation. So if we take out the things that are making us inflamed, then our bodies are free to heal.
Yes.
So it's, things like cancer, and they feed off of sugar and grow in an acidic environment. So if you remove its food source and alkalinize your body with alkaline food, when I say alkaline, I'm talking like lots of greens and alkaline water, like that's what I drink, is alkaline water. You make your body an unfriendly place for cancerous cells and stuff like that to grow.
Mm, mm. So you're putting a program together at the moment.
I am.
So what's your program that you're putting together?
It's a gut healing program. It came out of my own journey of healing myself. And it will be a 4-month program, and it will be one-on-one coaching where I will walk women through a step-by-step process to just taking back their health, and but also working on their mindset. It has to be both.
Yes.
And so systematically taking things out that are inflammatory, and let's replace it with something that fuels your body and heals it. And so it will be a step-by-step process through that.
Mm.
So I'm excited. I'm hoping to launch in mid-August.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah. Actually, you've just reminded me of something. A few months ago, I'm not sugar-free, but I'm pretty close to being sugar-free. There is days where I have bits and pieces, but it's not bothering me at the moment. I'm not addicted again.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered, how I was going to get off sugar. So I actually started a juice fast feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, the sugar became not a problem.
Yeah.
And I just went straight on to orange juice and just drank orange juice purely for 3, 4, 5 days, something like that. And there was no problem getting off sugar and no problem getting off, the white refined carbs. And it was just really easy. It was a great way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was
did you juice your oranges, or did you buy orange? Okay.
No, I bought the oranges and then stood there each morning and juiced them up for the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
It was really delicious, actually, and it really wasn't a problem. So yeah, it was under a naturopath, and she said, yes, we'll do this. So you're just having a mono fruit, so the body only has to deal with orange.
Mm-hmm.
And getting off sugars and getting off carbs was the easiest I've ever done it, because normally, I'm walking the walls, day 3 and I'm going, don't come near me,
Right, yeah, right. But it kept your blood sugar up, and and it's sweet enough that it's kind of satisfied that sweet tooth that you have.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So it was really good. But I know that's another controversial.
Well, juicing is great. It's just, it's just that you take out the fiber. And once again, we need anywhere from 25 to 38 grams of fiber a day. Most Americans don't even hit a third of that. We're at maybe 10 grams a day of fiber. And fiber is so important to keep things moving, and so that's it's like juicing can be delicious, and I love juicing. Actually, I have a juicer. So it's you just wouldn't get 100% of your calories from juices, right? Unless
no, that's all I was doing, was just pure juicing, and then I wanted to,
But you only did it for a certain period of time. It wasn't something that you did for a lengthy time, right?
No, I did it for about 21 days, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you, and you felt good the whole time?
Yep, absolutely.
That's fantastic. Wow. I've never, there's our bodies are so different, and what one works for somebody may not work as well for somebody else, and so we kind of have to, we're so bio individual.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Kelly. I think you've nearly answered every question that I've come up with.
It's been my pleasure.
Now, you also have a group on Facebook as well?
I do. It's called Women's Gut Health Tribe.
Yeah.
and would love to have any woman on there who is just looking for a safe place where we are supportive of each other. And I provide a lot of tips and teachings on how we can make this a lifestyle that we love.
Mm.
And it's where I can support women in their journey. And so that's where you can find me there at Women's Gut Health Tribe.
You post some really good stuff there, because I've been in there for the last few weeks and it's been really, really good stuff and really interesting. And I think you also put some recipes and different things on there as well.
I do. I post recipes. I try to go live at least about once a week, talking about different topics to kind of just clear up misconceptions, and just, to give women the tools that they need to make healthier lifestyle choices. When the coaching program comes out, that will be an individual one-on-one coaching. But this is a place where I can just love on women and give them information and let my inner geek come out. Nutrition and stuff like that.
No, fantastic. It's fantastic. And what you share is really good. So yeah, I recommend anybody go and join your group. Yeah, it's a small private little group, but what Kelly gives everybody is well and truly, really good value. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So thank you very much for today.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. It's been such a pleasure to speak to you, and I've loved it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Wow, Love, Light, Inspire, the podcast. I hope you got something from the episode and enjoyed it just as much as I did. Kelly was a wealth of information, and I'm sure you got a lot from it. Now, new episodes are released every Friday, so if you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. Subscribe so you never miss another episode, and please leave us a review. We really would love that. It will help us be seen. You can find us on Instagram or on the Facebook group Women of Love, Light and Inspiration Community. So that's the group Women of Love, Light and Inspiration Community. Come, join us there, connect and get in touch with me. And we post all sorts of different things there daily, so there'll be something of interest for you to see. Or you can go to our website as well, so www.lovelightInspire.com. Thank you to my producer, Nissa, who's put this all together for you, and all the guests that come on each week and give their time and share their knowledge with you. Also, please remember that the information spoken about today is just general information. It's not specifically about you, your situation, or anything like that. If you need help, please seek an expert, get professional advice, and look after yourself. Thank you.